All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Home Studio Simplified show. Hopefully, you can hear me. If you can't hear me, let me know. The current audio interface that I normally use, the Rodecaster Pro, is being sent back to the shop. Kept getting this weird humming out of input number 2, and I thought it was my microphone. Come to find out it's the actual unit itself. So that is being sent off for them to fix, repair, send back, whatever they need to do. Give me a new one. I let them know all about that. Anywho, they were very nice. The only problem was when I first sent them the email, evidently it kept going to their spam filter or something crazy. So I had to send a tweet out on Twitter to finally get their attention. So yeah, today we're going to be doing a Q&A. This is on Cakewalk by BandLab. However, if you have any music-related questions whatsoever, feel free to ask. We're also going to be talking about some very cool things that are coming up here in the near future. If this is your first time here, however, I do apologize. I will not have the crowd cheer button for people who are jumping on here that's brand new. So those of you who are brand new, just know that the crowd is cheering for you. I can't push my buttons today. That pains me, because I love pushing those buttons. But with that being said, thank you all so much for hopping on today. And if this is your first time here, this channel exists to simplify the complexities of the home studio and to help you make professional sounding music in a less than professional space. The motto around here is that we can dream alone, we can even create alone. But together we can achieve so much more. I'm sorry I'm getting caught up in the comments already. Got some awesome individuals in the chat. These are staples of the studio around here. These guys that show up all the time. So good to have each and every one of you. By the way, if you are also unaware of the fact, we are having a 10,000 subscriber giveaway. This is awesome. So the link will be in the description below. I can also go ahead and post a link in the chat if you'd like me to do that. So if you can't get to that, not sure where it's at, just let me know. I'll post a link in the chat here momentarily so that you can get to that giveaway. Super simple to enter. It's all over the place. If you want to enter that, you should be able to find that. But yeah, $2,000 worth of prizes. That's plugins and courses. So they're all completely downloadable, which means this is an international giveaway. So regardless of where you live, you can get in on the giveaway. I wanted to do it that way to make sure that everybody could get in on it, because I noticed a lot of times we have these and, sorry, getting caught up in the chat again. A lot of times we have these giveaways and not everybody's able to be in them because, simply said, I mean, you can't, it's hard to ship things. Like for instance, I shipped a coffee cup, literally just a coffee cup, to a awesome individual here on the channel named Jürgen. It arrived to him weeks, if not a month later, and it was broken, and it cost me about $50 just to send him that cup. So everyone was heartbroken. But with that being said, this is an international giveaway, so regardless of where you live, you can get in on this giveaway. Tons of prizes here that's going to be offered. Now, for those who we'd like to give a big shout out to, who have always been staples here on the channel as well, these are the chart toppers. These are individuals who are either Patreon members or they are YouTube membership members. Either way, whatever you come in at, you will be added to this chart, and you'll also get a special shout out every single time we do a live stream. Likewise, if you join in at the $5 or more mark a month on Patreon, you also get access to a ton of cool stuff. So if you have not made your way over there, that would be a great place to start. You'll get multi-tracks, there's an EQ cheat sheet, 15-step mixing guide, all kinds of cool stuff over there just for signing up for that. And there's going to be, the more Patreon members that we get, when we get to that mark where we're actually making from Patreon $500 or more a month, then I'm going to start taking that $500 or more a month and purchasing gear that we will then give away to only Patreon members. So I'm going to do a gear purchase. I'll do a review on that piece of gear, and I'll make sure that it's something that will be useful for home studio owners, and then I'll give it away back to the Patreon members. So essentially, your $5 a month could turn into a, $300 piece of gear that you'll be using for your home studio. So, thank you guys, each and every one of you. And now, a word from our sponsor. Today's video is sponsored in part by the 𝗏𝗃 Academy. The 𝗏𝗃 Academy offers affordable courses from mentors, world-class engineers, Grammy winners, and multi-platinum selling producers. And with the resources available on the 𝗏𝗃 Academy, you can learn how to create radio-ready mixes from the comfort of your own home studio. Most of the courses also offer multi-tracks that you can then add to your portfolio and begin to build out your business. Follow the link in the description of this video to head on over to the 𝗏𝗃 Academy today and start learning the skills that are needed to take your hobby or your business to the next level. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here again on the Home Studio Simplified show. Someone just said we need a radio jingle for that. I could probably work one up. I got a pretty good radio jingle for the podcast. I feel like it's been a staple now for several episodes. Well, by the way, if you did not know, we have a podcast. I hardly ever mention this, and I guess I need to start mentioning this more. We are up to 65 episodes now on the podcast, so that's awesome. Likewise, we are streaming this right now on YouTube as well as Facebook. So if you're having an issue with one or the other, you can always hop on over there. I'm trying to make sure that I keep a look on the chat on both instances. However, this could get crazy. And then I'm going to go through here and we're going to start answering some questions here momentarily. I'm going to try to do the live chat comment screen. Sometimes this works, sometimes it don't. I'm not really sure what's going on with this chat box. I'll just be honest, guys. It seems like it's just not been working like it's supposed to lately. But I like this though, because it allows me to be able to see all of the chat up here on the screen at the same time that you guys can see it as well. So I'm going to try to get it up and going right now and see if maybe it's just not communicating with the website. Let's see here. But yeah, start populating that chat either way with, start populating that chat with the questions that you might have. And then we will start answering some of these questions live. Hey, there it is. Now we're getting some individuals coming in. Okay, so 𝗏𝗃 is the first one on there. Good deal. So now it should start populating properly. However, I am going to still go back in the chat for things that we might have missed thus far. And we'll make sure that we get everybody on board here. What is up, 𝗏𝗃? What is up, Chris Knowles? What is up, Leon Banks, Bops New York, Redcom, Richie's Place? Good to see you here. I got some first timers in here. I wish I could hit that button where I could give you all a good crowd cheer. Leon Blanks, good to have you. Micah, James, Antoine, Mark. Let's see who else we got in here. 𝗏𝗃𝗄𝗏 and 𝗙𝗏𝗄𝗏. Good deal. What's the meaning of life? That's great. I could actually give you a good answer for that, actually. But we might save that for later. Awesome. Hello from Belize. Good deal. All right, so as much as I like this format, man, this is wearing me out. I think I'd rather just go back to this format here, where we got the desktop up, and then we're going to start going ahead and we'll start highlighting some of these chats here. And we'll start answering some questions right off the bat here. So, I would make mention that this is a clean channel. So if you have posted something that has explicatives in it, it will not get shown on the screen. However, I do see you. I got you on my radar right here. So a question from 𝗏𝗃𝗄𝗏 says, how do I enable or disable ghost notes? And then he started mentioning how angry he gets about that. So there should be, and this may not be the best project to bring up because it doesn't have any MIDI in it. So I'll tell you what, let me go ahead and I don't think I can actually see the piano roll view without something in there. So I'll just put a MIDI track in real quick. And we'll just throw in some MIDI real quick right here. We'll solo that out so it doesn't affect anything. Okay, drop this back down here. All right, so your piano roll view looks something like this. And what this individual is wondering is, how do you hide those ghost notes? So there's different options that you have here on the notes. Show notes, show note names, show durations, show velocities. But sometimes this doesn't give you the actual what you're looking for. So what you can do is, let me get my mug out of the way here. Let me get this camera out of the way, because sometimes it has a tendency to get in the way of what people are trying to actually see here. But what you can do is, in the piano roll view mode, you can click the enable or disable track editing button. Where's that at? Where's that at? I know it's around here. So show hide muted clips. That might help. Show multiple lanes. That's not it. Okay, so here's one thing you can actually use, is the show articulations for active track. This may actually help. But then I also thought there was another way to actually Oh, wait a minute. Maybe it's over here. I can't seem to find the button, but there is a enable or disable track editing. Normally it's the white one next to the name of the track in the PRV events list. This will turn the notes for that track gray or ghosted while keeping the active tracks in color. So hopefully that helps. And I can't. It's normally like right there. I'm not sure why it's not now. It could very well be because of my setup here, the way that I've got this set up. So hopefully that answered your question. I'm not sure if it did or not, honestly. I hope that it did. But I'm not sure. So with that being said, if there's anyone in the chat here who knows a quicker way, a better explanation, go ahead and drop that in the chat now, because I thought it was like right here and it's not. It would figure too that like the first question I get is about MIDI, which is the thing that I continually tell people on here, like I'm a sort of a real musician kind of guy. So when it comes to MIDI and stuff like that, I hardly ever even mess with that stuff. And when I do, it's just like a quick thing. Okay, here, hold on. It might be over here. Well, maybe not. See, I think there's a way to do it here too. Well, anyway, this Q&A is already starting off really great, isn't it? Okay, well, you know what? If there's anyone in the chat here who can answer this, I thought it was in the. Okay, so I know there's. Okay, so here, boom. Good night. It took a while to find it. Display ghosted data. You can actually click this on and off. And that was in the views menu, which is found up here at the top. So you go up here to the top, and then you'll find that. Click on view, display ghosted data. You can turn that off and on there. I think that should take care of it. I believe that even applies to MIDI as well, but I think it also even applies to audio tracks. So if you're having issues with your audio tracks showing ghosted data, such as, you know, if you have overlapping tracks, maybe you're doing a sound on sound type recording, I believe that takes care of that as well. I do apologize for not finding that quicker. But then again, you know, you'll have that. Okay, so that was that question. Let's go back and see if we can struggle through another one here. Okay. Oh, cool. Leon Banks says he first saw my videos on TikTok, and I was like, finally, details for Cakewalk. Sweet. Yeah, this is predominantly a Cakewalk channel for sure. So good to have you on here, by the way. Good to see you on here. And good to see that TikTok is actually doing something other than just scantily clad girls dancing around, which I felt like for a while. I was like, wow, this is a broken system. So here we have Redcom. He says, ever since the update, Cakewalk crashes sometimes with my potato PC. I'm not sure about a potato PC, but I'll do my best to answer. Okay, so with the most recent update, there has been an update to the update. So if you did not know about that, there is now an update for, I thought it was, what was it? I think it's just called Update 1, but it actually will pop up here on the screen in your Toast notification, which is down your lower right-hand corner, and it will tell you, hey, there's an update. Now, if that does not happen, you can go into the Help section and actually go to the Check for Updates option. That's right here. And that should also get you up to date. Now, if you've done all that and you're still getting crashes, which that does happen sometimes. I mean, after all, that happens with anything and everything. But if that does happen, there's other options. It could be something completely different. Okay. So for instance, a lot of times what I've noticed whenever you have a lot of Cakewalk crashing, it could be the fact that you have like 82 tracks and they're all MIDI. It could be the fact that your latency settings are too high. So you want to bring your latency settings, you go into preferences, and then you go to driver settings. And as you can see, mine's set to fast right now. I might actually bring that down to somewhere closer to the middle, which is the safe zone, and hit apply. And that will actually not do so much of a taxation on my CPU usage, which will then keep it from crashing as often. Another thing that you can do is go up here to your performance tab and make sure that nothing up here looks out of kilter. So if this thing is like spiking through the roof, then that's one thing where, you know, you need to maybe look at your project and say, okay, now what's causing this? One thing that I can tell you right now that causes that a lot of times is this area right here represents your hard drive. If your hard drive is completely like 100% full and you're trying to use a music program, that's one thing where it's going to be a lot harder for your computer to allocate information whenever it's got to pull from 100% of its drive to find information. So if you keep that usually below 50% and below, your computer is going to perform a whole lot better. And if you have a computer that's mainly just for music production, it's very hard to do. I know I'm bad at it myself sometimes, but if you can like, okay, this project is finished and all I need really is just these files, just start cleaning it up. I actually have a link in the description to a tool as well it's called a duplicate file finder. It's been a huge, amazing help in the sense that that duplicate file finder can go through your entire computer and find files that are the exact copies. Then you can choose which ones you want to keep, which ones you want to destroy. And from that, you can then free up a lot of space on your computer as well. Likewise, a lot of people don't know about this, but if you go into the utilities section up here, and you go to clean audio folder. Okay. This is huge. So you can do this for each and every project. Okay. So you can search the entire PC, which is a lot slower, or you can just try to do it within this project. Okay. Now, with that being said, if I click find, it's going to ask me to obviously save the project so nothing happens. And then it's going to ask me to, okay, so here are 3 files that are found right now that are not being used in this current project, but I can actually delete them within Cakewalk, and it will be like a safe delete, which means it's not going to be anything that's affecting this project. So I won't open it later and go, oh man, I shouldn't have deleted that piece of audio. Now this won't work. And in all actuality, I can just hit delete all and be completely fine with that, knowing that it's only deleting what's not being used by the project. That's going to free up a ton of space too. Actually, I'm glad I just did that. And I'm glad that something popped up there, because that was a huge, huge win right there for the stream to show you guys this. What is up, Keith Ferris? Good deal. All right. Chat is hopping. I love this. Love getting on here and interacting with you folk. Some of the most awesome people on the planet join in here on these live streams. All right. So Micah's making mention of the fact that we are not only are we past 10,000, but we're actually 10.2. Richie's Place. Hey, I'm doing fine as frog here, brother. Good to see you. Good afternoon to you too as well. Bops, New York. Okay. Okay, so I'm going back through here and checking now. One thing that I want to make mention of is if you have a question that maybe is getting buried by other comments that are coming in, and you want to make absolutely positively sure that question will get answered, you can give a super chat of any amount, even the smallest amount possible, and it will pop up here, and I will be forced to see that above everything else. So I'm not telling you you have to do that, because I am going back through these and trying to make sure I get everybody. But in the unlikely event that I miss your question, that's always a way to make sure that I see it. All right. I think I got that. Okay, so Cypher Sage says, I want to ask, can I get a good vocal verb by using one reverb plugin? Absolutely. I know that here on the channel, I do a lot of this where I showcase the fact that I actually use 3 reverbs. And that's a stylistic choice. However, you can still get a good vocal reverb from one reverb instance. In fact, if you wanted to, you could strip down my usage of 3 reverbs and just use one for the whole project and just blend in different amounts of that reverb. That's completely fine as well. One thing that I would say though is that if you are going to do that, you want to be mindful of the fact that every single item within the mix may not be within the same time structure. So your drums might be hitting a little bit differently than your bass. And so what you're going to end up, what's going to end up happening is, or what could happen is you might get a lot of overlapping frequencies. So you just got to be careful with it. As long as you do everything in moderation though, when it comes to mixing, you're usually in the ballpark of doing the right thing. So, all right. Good evening to you as well. Hello from Belize, good to see you. Hello from Cleveland, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Good to see you, by the way. Can we get more specific example of where you want to disable ghost notes? It depends upon the sample. That's a good question, or a good answer to the question. Okay, so Leon Banks says, I have a question. When recording in Cakewalk, this is in regards to vocals. Should the vocals be recorded raw? And what does it mean to send effects to the bus? And for vocals, should be recorded 3 times to pan. Okay, I think I got all of the questions in there. With that being said, so no, you don't have to record 3 vocals and pan them. You can, however, if you want a wider vocal sound. But with that being said, the main question that you asked, let me make sure I get back to that. is, should they be recorded raw? Now that really just depends on what you mean by raw. But if you mean like a raw, unedited track recorded into your DAW, that's usually the best way to do that. Thank you for that super chat. Greatly appreciate that. Let's see, who was that? Bops New York. Thank you so much. But with that being said, the raw track going into the DAW, that is usually the best option. However, even like right now, I'm recording through 3 pieces of analog gear to get the sound that you hear from this particular microphone. So if I was to bypass all of the effects right now, whoa, that's what you would be hearing. So yeah, if you have outboard gear and you have a sound in your head that you want to specifically get and you want to commit to that sound, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that either. In fact, I record a lot of my guitar tones straight into my DAW with all of the effects built in because I want to commit to those sounds. They sound good in my ears when I'm listening through with the mix, and that's what I want. I don't want to record a DI track in there and then tweak it for 4 hours. This is all about, you know, just working smart and not hard. Now, you said recording them up to 3 times and panning them. Yet again, that's something that you can do. I would definitely recommend, and I love the fact that you mentioned recording them 3 times because that is the best way to do that. You don't want to just double the track 3 times and then pan it. You'll be getting nothing from that. You're just creating the same signal 3 different times. You're essentially creating a mono signal, even if you do pan them left or right. So that doesn't even really matter. You're just making it louder. Likewise, you'll run into phase issues. You could run into some phase cancellation if you accidentally flip the phase inversion on one of the channels. So yes, if you are going to duplicate the tracks, make sure that they are duplicates, like re-recorded versions. That goes with guitars, with pianos, whatever it might be. If you're going to pan something hard left and hard right, you want to make sure that it is not just a duplicated version of that track. Now, there are instances like we can see on the project before us where it actually makes sense to duplicate a track and then to affect that track. Like in this case, we have our lead vocal, which I'm going to go ahead and play this. So this might be a little bit loud. I bought you flowers yesterday. Okay. And then I took a duplicated version of that, literally just clicked on it. If you hold Control and Shift and click and drag it down, it'll be a perfect duplication of that vocal to the track below it. And by holding Shift, it won't allow it to time shift right or left. So you'll have perfectly in time. And then I added the little altar boy on there just for some extra grit, and I blended it in sort of a parallel processing. I bought you flowers yesterday. So as you can see, this is the parallel processing. My knees began to pray. Now, although that is a completely duplicated version of it, because it has been completely affected in a totally different way, it's not going to have the same effect as just a sterile duplication panned hard left and hard right. Because it's affected differently, I could actually pan these left and right and get true stereo sound from them. I bought you flowers yesterday. Of course, the volume difference is going to make that sound a little wonky, but you get the point. So to answer your question in the most simplistic way possible, yes, always record your vocals raw. Unless you have outboard gear or you're looking for a specific effect, you're running through a reverb unit or something like that, and you want that sound baked in, by all means, absolutely go for it. What is up? X.E.L.O is in the house. Good to see you, buddy. He is like crushing it over there on his channel. You guys got to check him out. If you have not, go and subscribe to X.'s channel. He's got some amazing Cakewalk tutorials over there as well, especially if you're a beat maker and you're working with MIDI a lot. So the gentleman that just asked the question before, let me make sure I pronounce his name correctly, 𝗏𝗏 𝗏𝗏. You might want to go and check out X.'s channel. In fact, I think he even has a video on the ghost notes that you spoke of earlier, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, hopefully, hopefully that helps to answer a question. All right, so the next question is, yep. So George was just confirming what I thought was true. You need to be editing multiple MIDI tracks in order to be able to see this. So, all right. So I'm lost too. Says, does Cakewalk has a sampler built in? It does not, but it does. So, with that being said, well, what in the world does that mean, Robert? Well, let me preface this by saying that Cakewalk does not have a sampler built in anymore. Used to, it had the TTS1, I think was the name of it. There was actually a sampler. Might still have it. Yeah, the SFZ and Drop Zone 32 used to be the built-in samplers. However, now Cakewalk no longer offers a sampler because those third-party plugins have diminished from their licenses and all of that, so they don't use them. However, the BandLab version of Cakewalk, so the online DAW version, the browser-based DAW has a sampler built in, and it's right here on your phone. So if you have your phone with you, you have a sampler with you, and then you can record those samples on your phone and fly them seamlessly in to Cakewalk. So technically, Cakewalk does have a sampler built in. It's just on the other platform, the BandLab platform. And in case you're wondering about that, well, what's the difference? So essentially, BandLab is an online DAW, browser-based DAW that's sort of like a very streamlined, trimmed-down version of what we're looking at now, which is the full-blown flagship platinum version, as it used to be called, of a DAW. So they both work in concert together. One of them is just more of a stripped-down version that is mobile, that you can take with you anywhere. This is a desktop version that's predominantly used in studio work. So hopefully that answers your question. All right, moving on to another. Keep them coming, guys. This is great. Do you record live drums? If so, what are your mics of preference or normal mic arrangements? So I have the privilege of actually having some good session players that help me on a lot of my projects because I don't have the room here in the studio, which, as you can see behind me, I have an electronic drum set just over here in the corner, which I use from time to time. Obviously, that does not produce the best of results, but it does produce pretty good results when you match it with, like, say, for instance, excuse me, Addictive Drums 2, which is my VSTI drum instrument of choice. With that being said, though, I have Chris Knowles, who's here in the chat today, who is sort of my go-to drummer, who will record live stuff for me and then send it over. But when I do go to miking a drum kit, there's actually a couple of different approaches. So if there's the 2 overhead mic approach, which honestly you can get pretty far with just that. Of course, I believe it's called the Glyn Johns method of recording, if you want to research that. But basically, you just have 2 overhead mics spaced evenly apart. I believe it's at 3 feet apart, and then 3 feet up from the floor, and or 3 feet up from the kit. Basically, you just want to have them, whatever one mic is, you want the other mic to be double the distance of this mic. And so that takes care of phase issues and things like that. But honestly, depending on what mics you use and where you place them, you can get a really good drum sound with just 2 condenser overhead mics. However, if you want to go, full bore and mic up every single kit piece that's on there, there are definitely options for that. Lewitt makes a great drum kit miking set, as well as Shure makes an awesome drum kit miking drum kit set, whatever you want to call that. But yeah, typically speaking, though, I will normally just record either MIDI drums. I'll program the drums. To be honest, and I'll probably make Chris cringe on this, Chris Cringel. But to be honest, when I use the Addictive Drums, the MIDI version of Addictive Drums, honestly, they sound really good to my ears. But I still, from time to time, I'll say, hey, why don't you come and play on this project? Because nothing can replace, obviously, the humanism that's behind a good drummer. So hopefully that answers your question. Oh, so here we have an answer from the man himself. He says, I've recorded drums on 2 of Robert's tunes, and he uses mostly CAD premium microphones. Awesome. Mark George, who is a MIDI aficionado, says Grace is a great sample player. Good deal. I thought I heard that you can't ghost notes in virtual drums. Actually, yes, you can. It just depends on, like, say for instance, let's go in here. I keep trying to use this project. How about we just pull up a project that does have these? By the way, that was the song contest winner from last month. If you would like to get involved in the song contest, these happen every single month. There's a link in the description, as well as you can follow the same link that I just posted earlier for the Patreon member page. Let's see, which one do we want to get on here? Yeah, how about we just use this one? So this is a song that I just recently wrote for my wife, actually, for our anniversary. We're going on 15 years as of, and well, actually in the next 3 days. The 20th will be 15 years. But this actually has some MIDI drums in it. I know, yet again, Chris is going to cringe. He's going to be like, however, this isn't necessarily one that I didn't have a lot of time, and I wanted to get it done quickly. And I also wanted all of it to be from me, as this was going to be to my wife. And I actually got to record her reaction last night while we were eating Chick-fil-A to the song. Better reaction than what I thought it was going to be, actually. But as you'll be able to hear, there's definitely some ghost notes here. Let me pull this up, and I'll just solo out just the drums so you can kind of hear that. Or not. Okay. My computer's bulking. It's going, nope, there's too much going on, Robert. I'll turn that buffer size down a little bit. So this is a prime example of how to fix that stuff. And now when I press play, it will take forever. Okay, so as you can see here, with those snare taps, there's also some more here that we find. But yeah, there are quote-unquote ghost notes. But these are more built in also to the Addictive Drums platform. Wow, I didn't realize that there's not really that much going on in this project. I'm not sure why it's doing that. It could be because I'm streaming to 2 different platforms too. That's probably not helping. I'm going to go ahead and try to freeze some tracks and see if we can't revisit that here in just a minute. But yes, you can actually ghost notes on virtual drums. I think it just depends on which one you're using. And also, sometimes we get this problem where if the MIDI takes are overlapping, you'll have an instance where it just won't play either one because they're overlapping. I know Mark George was in here last time we had this question. He was able to answer that. So, Mark, if you can clue in on that, about how you fix that, because I remember specifically, it was either you or someone else had the answer of all answers for that, about how to fix that. Okay, I'm going to shut down some stuff here because it's getting crazy. Okay. Hey, if you have not liked the video as of yet, this would be a great time for you to like it. This will help the algorithms to know and understand that what we're doing over here actually makes a difference. It means something. All right, let's see. Do a tutorial on vocal chop in Cakewalk. So, what exactly? hopefully I answered your question, and if not, we can get you an answer to that, by the way, Keith. But yeah, so do a tutorial on vocal chopping. So I would need to know, first off, what exactly you mean by vocal chopping, because this is actually, I know it might be straightforward for some people, but it's actually, I've ran into this quite a few times. One person's vocal chop means something completely different than another person's vocal chop. Now, if you mean literally taking a vocal and chopping it up to get that stutter sound, then that's totally different than, where did that come from? Oh, John Cower has liked the stream. Thank you. However, if you're talking about vocal chops in the sense of like, because believe it or not, some people were categorizing vocal chops as, what am I thinking here? Vocal dubs. So, or take lanes, like using take lanes. Because if you're talking about that, then I have actually done some tutorials on that already. If you could clarify just a little bit on that though, maybe we can come back and revisit that question here in just a minute. So I think this is currently the build that we're talking about. Okay, so what's the name of the program for Android in order to be able to use a tablet to use Cakewalk? I believe it's called BandLab. If that's the one that you're talking about. However, if you're talking about like which one to control Cakewalk with, that's a completely different app. In fact, Chris Knowles actually uses, I think it's called DAW Control or something like that. He uses something like that. I have never used any of those because they're just really glitchy to me. And I kind of get sketched out about 𝗪𝗏. That's the name of it. I kind of get a little sketched out about that kind of stuff. However, if that is what you're talking about, 𝗪𝗏 is an option. If you want to try it out, maybe you can use it. One thing that I have used over the years, and maybe it's just a quick cheater kind of method here, but basically a wireless mouse and a wireless keyboard can work wonders, especially if you're not going too far. In fact, some of the Logitech stuff actually has a really good distance on it, believe it or not. So Ryan Boyce has a question. He says, what audio driver do you use or recommend? I typically use the MME audio driver. A lot of people are recommending 𝗏𝗏 now because ASIO with the last update kind of got a little wonky, and I don't think it's necessarily Cakewalk's problems as much as it is Microsoft's problems, because right now they're revamping everything for Windows 11 to come out, and I think they're changing stuff with these updates to try to sort of, as countermeasures, preemptive strikes, so to speak. Got me a new cup for our anniversary, a Yeti cup, first one ever. Definitely keeps stuff warm. Not sponsored. Hashtag not sponsored. But yeah, I definitely recommend the MME 32-bit. Works great for me. It also allows me to stream as well as for you to be able to hear what I'm doing on the screen as well as everything else without Microsoft and the Windows program completely taking over all of my audio drivers. So, with that being said, not sure if you saw my note. Oh, okay, cool. Mark George, I think it's called 𝗪𝗏. Good deal. My buffer settings are unchangeable. That's odd. That's very odd. So the only reason why I would think that might be possible is if you don't have an audio interface plugged in, because usually your audio interface will dictate to Cakewalk what buffer size settings you have available. So that would be the only thing I could think of. Let's try to play these drums again. Now we're playing just fine. Just had to freeze a bunch of tracks within Cakewalk. By the way, for the question earlier about, getting glitchy crashes and all that madness, that's another great option. You can always just freeze tracks that you're not going to be using, or maybe tracks that are, I shouldn't say not going to be using, but tracks that are already ready, like they're already setting in the mix just fine. You're not going to have to tweak them for a while. Go go ahead and freeze them and forget them. With that being said, though, if you go to make any changes on them, you want to unfreeze them first before you go to make those changes. Otherwise, that's a whole nother headache. You'll make changes for 30 minutes, be like, wow, this is great. And then you unfreeze it and lose it all. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so here's the entirety of the song. Yeah, and it's playing just fine now that I got those buffer settings set where my computer can actually breathe now. By the way, that guitar was recorded as well with the 𝗏𝗏 LCT 140 Air. Little shout out there to 𝗏𝗏. Okay, so Leo Banks has another question. He says, does Cakewalk have something like Melodyne or Autotune to fix pitch corrections? Yes. So Cakewalk by BandLab, if you was to download it today, would have a version. It's a trial version of Melodyne. They used to actually come with Melodyne Essential, I think. Melodyne Lite or something like that. But yeah, every new install does come with a trial of Melodyne, and then you can go and buy the upgrade later. I would make mention of the fact that if you are going to buy any kind of Melodyne product, let me know beforehand. I may be able to even get you a discount because I've got a pretty good relationship with them right now. In fact, I'm one of the first, and actually, yeah, I am one of the first because I suggested it, affiliates of Melodyne. So in other words, you could get maybe even a discount. Of course, we're giving Melodyne Studio away. That's an $800 value right there. So you could win that too by entering the giveaway. But if you don't win, let me know. I might be able to get you a discount, and then at no extra cost to you, in fact, a discount possibly, I would get a small commission for leading you to their product as well. Keith Ferris wants to know, Chris, if you have links to the recordings. Actually, we did a full-blown collaboration on that song, and the multi-tracks are going to be released to the Patreon community here soon. So now that the song is released, I'm going to release them on the Patreon community soon, so that anybody that wants to go and download the tracks and mix them for themselves, add them to their portfolio, you can feel free to do that. But if you'd like to check that out, I can actually pull up the recordings right now for you. Of course, these will be affected recordings after I had done my tweakage. And I think this is the finished product project. Yeah, okay. Let's check her out. So these are the drum sounds that Chris is getting. Not too shabby, huh? So yeah, by the way, if you'd like to hire Chris, he's here in the chat. Reach out to him. He does some amazing work, and he'll also make sure that you get the best value for your money as well. Okay, so Cakewalk has to add a vocator in build, a vocoder. Yes, I believe, don't quote me on this, but as a BandLab insider, as a BandLab partner, I believe they are actually, this is something that's in the making. Okay, I have a plugin, Nectar 3, but I'm not sure if I'm using it correctly. Okay, let me, I might even have that myself. Let me see. Let's go to plugin layouts. Let's go to sort by manufacturer. And I believe that is an iZotope plugin. Yes, it is. All right, so Nectar 3 Elements is what I have. I bought it with that big upsell thing that they had. Yeah, so right out of the gate, it's asking you, what are you looking for? Vintage, modern, or dialogue? Light. Now this is your intensity, light, moderate, or aggressive. So like, let's say here on the vocals, I was looking for a modern vibe, and on the intensity, I just wanted it to be light. I hit go. Now I play the audio.
The darkness of this present hour.
Actually, I don't think that's going to work because the track is frozen. Now let me try that.
The darkness of this present hour is ever looming. The pressure to perform is all-consuming. We bare our souls just to get a like and filter out these scars inside. Remember to subscribe and...
Okay, so now according to this, if I was to take off the other plugins that I have here, essentially what this is doing is it's just an AI sort of take on vocal processing. What it's doing is it's listening to your vocal, it's then processing it based off of what would be the best sound according to the AI. So as you can see, it's got some de-essing, some dynamics, clarity, there's no pitch correction, and then your tone and your space. So basically just the way that this works is you just tweak it until you get a sound that's pleasable, just based off of these simple parameters here.
Perform is all-consuming. We bare our souls just to get a like and filter out these scars inside. Remember to subscribe and follow me.
So essentially, your clarity is like an EQ curve. Your de-essing is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's taking out sibilance. Your dynamics is your compression, as well as taking care of your peaks that might be a little bit too loud. It's going to tame those. The quieter moments, it's going to bring those up. You got to be careful though. If you have a noise floor, it's also going to bring that noise floor up. And then for the polish, your tone is essentially going to be basically like a brighter or a darker adjustment, and your space is your reverb. So play this again.
The darkness of this present hour is ever looming.
So this is the brighter side.
Pressure to perform
This is the darker side.
All-consuming. We bare our souls just to get a like and filter out these scars inside. Remember to subscribe and follow me.
And then obviously the pitch, as you can see there, it was horribly mangling that vocal, but obviously the pitch is for, you know, correcting some pitch. But yet again, like with anything and everything, when it comes to audio production, you want to do everything in such a way to where it is subtle.
The darkness of this present hour is ever looming. The pressure to perform is all-consuming. We bare our souls just to get a like and filter out these scars inside. Remember to subscribe and follow me.
So that's a little taste of Chris Knowles' drums inside the whole track itself. 𝗵𝗿𝗍𝗻𝗄 says, why can't I pan anything inside my bus tracks anymore? That might be, very well could be, just a view option not set up properly. So if you open up your console view here, you'll notice I have the ability here to pan things. But if I go to, what is it, options, I believe? Yeah, you can see here. Got your, I thought there was a way to, okay, here it is. Yeah, I think if you narrow the strips, no, it even leaves it up then. here it is. See, now it disappears. So it's in the modules section. You just want to make sure that all of these are ticked to where you can actually see that. So hopefully you was able to see that. Mob Gamer, modules, and then here's your pain control. Not sure why that would disappear if it was up on other projects though, unless it was just their most recent install. All right, Yamaha Power V, 𝗶𝘆 snare. Oh, we're getting geeky on the drums in here. That's fine. Hello from the Fret Farm in Nashville. Thanks for more great info. Awesome. Is that Nashville in Indiana or is that Nashville, Tennessee? That's a question. Look for Robert on Spotify and listen to the Crossroads and Viral. Yes, both of those songs were Chris's work. He did a great job on them, by the way. I just lost my place. Where was I? Okay, let's see. Says he's just getting started on Cakewalk by BandLab. Awesome, Keith. Congratulations, man. You're going to love it. Which, by the way, if you did not know, per yesterday's video, there is a rocket fuel bundle that's going on right now. You'll get my Ultimate Cakewalk by BandLab tutorial course. You'll get the Compression Simplified course. You'll get the Creating a Song Step-by-Step 2.0 course, as well as a bunch of other goodies for cakewalkers, as well as those who don't use Cakewalk. But even if you don't use Cakewalk, it's a tremendous value. You get 5 group Skype sessions with a group of individuals who are serious about their music. And everyone who has done this has profited from it greatly. They've been able to churn out songs faster than ever and just understand their DAW better. So if you're interested in that, you can either go back and watch the video that I just recently posted on the channel, or I'll just post a link straight in the chat right here, and you can go and check that out at your own leisure, or now if you'd like. Okay. X.E says, what's up, Cakewalkers? VX64 vocal strip is nice for vocals. Absolutely. Yeah, I can't pin anything that's been routed to the bus track for some reason. Oh, if it's a routing issue that you can't pan, then that would also be over here. And make sure that this says all up here. Make sure this says all. Because if you go to like mix, or which one is it? FX, yeah, it takes out all of the painting options. So just go to set that to all. I always leave it on all anyway. That'll give you the most options there. Whoa, I just hit record all. That's not cool. Don't want to record over this stuff. All right. Ooh. From France even. Good to see you, Oliver. Had a mono plug-in on my bus. Well, that makes sense now. That's why you couldn't paint it. No, you're absolutely welcome. Thank you for hopping on today. Does Cakewalk have a mono delay type of effect? Yes, actually it does. So if you go into your, and I'll just use a stock plugin. Let's go back to organized by type. That way I've got them. So the Sonatus delay, although this is a stereo delay, you can actually unlink it and just use one side only. Bring the mix down on the other side, and now you have a mono delay. It's very cool. In fact, this delay is actually quite good. So I like it a lot. Glenn Johns once said the whole measurement thing is something he never did. That's cool. Glenn would move around to taste. Good deal. Chris Knowles wants to know, have you been working with 𝗂𝐿𝐴 again? My offer is still open to make live drums for that song, by the way. I have not, but I did reach out to her and let her listen to our song Viral, and she loved it. So that's always a win. I want to get her on the show for a chat one day, though. You're absolutely welcome. Okay, so ghost notes. Basically, so these are notes that are ghosted behind other notes, or they're notes that are played lighter than other notes. So like a ghost note on a snare would be like the main hit is your main hit. So that's your snare transient, your initial hit. And then sort of like the little roll that you put on it before you go into the next thing would be considered your ghost notes. So those are notes that are just kind of like fill notes that are there to sort of help accentuate the drums. And then Mark explains it in the next comment. So, okay. Good deal. All right. I feel like I'm really behind here on the chat section. I'm trying to catch up, guys. How do you select a VST instrument and associate more than one soft synth tracks to it? I'm always adding a new track, selecting simple insert track, and yada, yada, yada. So that's actually, that's pretty simple. The way that you would do that is, I always try to showcase this stuff and never have any MIDI instruments pulled up at all. Well, I think these are MIDI instruments. No, they're not. I baked them down into strings audio. Well, with that being said, what you would do is just simply, so if I created one simple instrument track, and let's say I used, I don't know, this electric piano. I set the output, input to Omni, hit create. Okay, now I'm going to insert another. Now, obviously, you would have to have more than one instrument up for it to actually be selectable. So as long as your input is set to Omni, you should, in theory, be playing both of them at once. Of course, I'm not going to be able to because I've unplugged my MIDI keyboard. Hold on a second. And now the question remains, will it even come up? Because the other day I was doing this and it wouldn't even come up. Because I didn't have it plugged in initially. Okay, let's see here. See, I think what's happening is my drivers are actually, one of these is going to sleep on me. And I don't like that. Should not be having that. Yeah, it's acting like it's not even there. Like it's fallen asleep on me or something. At any rate, yeah, you can either set the output to the other VSTI instrument or simply leave it to Omni and play the one note and it should pop up with all of them. However, I can't show you that right now. I do have that in a previous video though, where I talked about saving time when recording and just, you know, laying down the one track. Actually, here, what am I thinking? I don't think there was anything on that. Okay, so as you can see, it played on this track as well. However, if I was to set the output to let's see. Yeah, I just had this set up the other day. I was actually doing this too when I was trying to find a sound for that song I just wrote my wife. Yeah, I know that there's a way to do it. It's all in the routing though. And if you can't do it that way, I think there's actually a way to, route it into as such. Yeah, so it'd be this way. But that still may not quite give you the effect that you're wanting. Yeah, so I could just use this one track and send it to several, but I see what you're saying though, because I have done this before. I just don't know. I'm sure there's an easier way to do it. I bet Mark George has an awesome way to do this. But essentially, if you just, your routing options will play a role in that. Good deal. This is true. Yes, please. If you're interested, subscribe to his YouTube channel. Shoot me a note, he says. That's a great question, David. So typically speaking, what I'll do is I'll mix the MIDI, and when I get the MIDI sounding how I want, I will then convert that into audio. So yeah, great question. Actually, there's been a lot of great questions today. You guys are awesome. All right. Yes. Great point there, by the way. Clayton, another first timer. I really want to use my Cakewalk, but it's so counterintuitive and clunky. I don't know. I subbed to this channel in a last-ditch effort not to delete it. Storage room is precious. Gotcha. Okay, so your best bet would be honestly to, I have like over 48 different tutorials on this channel. Go back through and check out whatever it is that you're having a question about. I guarantee you, I've probably either done a tutorial on it or I'm in the process of doing it now. So from the Bakers, chord track is still on our to-do list, and I'd be surprised if it didn't follow a similar theme to the arranger. Awesome. Yes. Gotta love the Bakers, making stuff happen over there. Is it possible to have a different version than this? Mine looks so different. So this is probably based off the fact that I have a different, this is my theme that I'm using. So you can actually change your themes, make them look completely different. So yours probably looks something like this, whereas this is my actual theme that I've created that has my slogan on it. And as you can see, you can update and change these things from time to time. This is like sort of a more easy on your eyes look here with a little bit of a sheen on the everything here. Yeah, by the way, if you're interested in this theme, I do have those for sale as well. I think they're like $12. It's just a quick little something extra to try to offset the cost of the time that's invested. Okay, so where can we get the Sonar Pro modules to use in BandLab, for example, the Pro Channel Concrete Limiter? That's a great question as well. A lot of these plugins, a lot of individuals have been asking about. Unfortunately, they actually done away with them when BandLab bought them out, because there was third-party agreements and plugins with all of this other stuff. And so rather than keeping up support with those, they just went ahead and said, okay, we're going to go ahead and completely drop it, start over from fresh, and maybe, just maybe somewhere down the road, we're going to implement these again. However, I have had a little bit of success in leading people back to the original Cakewalk by Cakewalk Sonar website. If you have an old account, you can download the old installers and usually get those back. But even like the Concrete Limiter, I don't even think I have access to that one, because it was, I think it was actually pre-platinum. So the one that I have access to is the CA2A, and then the Adaptive Limiter, which this was sort of like their upgraded version of the Concrete Limiter. This one is absolutely amazing, by the way. It's got 4 different character modes, and then you can actually go into expert mode, use it for mid-side processing, listen to like what an MP3 would sound like, or even dither it and hear it in real time, what it would sound like. But yeah, as far as that's concerned, shoot me an email and I'll see if I can't get you some links that might help. Leon Banks says, so in other words, I don't need any other plugin. This Nectar 3 is enough. It can be, based off of whatever you might be doing. If it sounds good to your ears, then use it. Absolutely. I think you can probably get very far with that. However, the VX64 vocal strip that's in Cakewalk is absolutely amazing. It goes on every one of my mixes. And this has got a lot of the same stuff that the other was doing, with a little bit more control over what sound you're going after. I'm not going to try to shoot you down from using the Nectar at all, though. If it works for you, man, use it. All right. Awesome. Yeah. Clayton, go ahead and send me an email, and I'll see if I can't just shoot you over a copy of this to get you up and running in something that you feel like would make your job a little easier. So Wild Bill Durkin says the musical Nashville, though I'm familiar with her Hoosier sister city. So it's actually quite a musical city itself. It's just more bluegrass based. Highly recommend the Rocket Fuel Mixing Bundle program. Thank you so much. I was wondering how you would use MME and IZO at the same time when playing back. Yeah, it's just all going through MME. Clayton Von Cluj, you can also get the template if you subscribe on Patreon or on YouTube. Yeah, so even if you subscribe at $1.99 a month, you can actually get access to that as well. I just got it this year and got it through BandLab. The template? That's crazy. Okay. I subscribe here on YouTube. Okay. There's actually a... Yep, there it is. Man, you guys are awesome. Before I even get to some of these questions, you've already got them. Mario Gueda, I hope I'm saying that name. Hello from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I've been using Cakewalk for several years, and I think your channel is very good. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Hey, what's up, Rashik? Good to see you, buddy. Robert got kidnapped by aliens. You want to see a platform hardware that's a learning curve? Try Native Instruments Machine. Yeah. Your drivers might need some coffee. Ooh, gotta love coffee. I have not updated to Windows 11, and I don't plan on it until I absolutely have to, until they work all the bugs out. So Are my tracks limited in Cakewalk? No, they're not. You can have as many tracks as you possibly want, or at least as many as your computer can handle. I just found out my studio computer i5 is not compatible with Windows 11. Sheesh. Wow. That's crazy. I'm trying to listen to the stream from work, but work mayhem won't allow me to follow along. Well, there's always the opportunity to come back and listen later. I know that stinks, though. I recorded a classical orchestral type song last week. First time I actually write score music in forever since I was in my 20s. Oh, wow. You and Mark George would definitely get along. He is the score type guy. Chris says use Sample Tank. Submit it to the song contest. You can use MIDI track 1 on multiple instruments so they play all together when you play on channel 1. There you go. Micah's all over it. Thank you, Micah. Yes. Very, very wise decision, George. Mark says, I usually just open 2 different VSTs and then turn the record button on both of the tracks and it records MIDI to both tracks. That's an option too. Actually, I think that's the way that I did it on my previous video. I do all of my work in Cakewalk. 𝗪𝗀𝗃𝗀𝘆, what is going on, buddy? Hope you're still here. Is Chris Knowles a professional? Absolutely. So there is a link that I just posted in the chat, Clayton, if you're interested, that will take you straight to everything that we offer here on the channel. So if you're, that's the song contest, the Patreon page, all of that. So check it out. I'll post a link again in the chat just in case. Man, you guys are awesome. Answering the questions, being so helpful. You guys are awesome. Yes, we do a song contest every single month, except for 1 month we've already had a mix contest. That was very, very fun too. Awesome. Ben Grauer, open the same VST twice on the same track. Sorry for not understanding. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear about that, Clayton. That stinks, man. You know what, Clayton, if you cannot afford, I totally get that. If you cannot afford the $1.99 a month, don't worry about it, buddy. Go ahead and email me and I will get you that for the free. I want to help you out so you can get up and running with Cakewalk and be loving what you're doing. So yeah, hit me up on that. That's at 𝗏𝗏𝑠implified@gmail.com, by the way. In case you were wondering. Okay, let's see here. Thanks for the bluegrass info. I'm a fan. Signing off. Thanks again for all the great info. Awesome. Okay, so he says, I have another question. I have a 𝗙𝐶 Helicon Voice Live 2. Can I use this to record vocals with? Absolutely. Yeah, just use it like basically like a go-between between you and your computer. Or you can plug it straight into your audio interface and use it that way as well. So yeah. Pardon my ignorance. What is the OP's name so I can thank him and address him when I send him an email? Oh, Robert. That's if you're talking to me. You might be talking to Chris. I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and post my email in the chat as well, just to save you time in trying to find it. So it's 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏simplified@gmail.com. Oh, well, thank you. Appreciate that. So you already found it. Good deal. I'm trying to use multiple tracks on the same VST without having to load VST multiple times for each track. I may be missing a simple step. Multiple tracks on the same VST. Yeah, okay. I'm pretty sure I did a video on that already. Oh well. Using a single VSTI instrument with multiple tracks is easier to achieve using separate video and audio tracks instead of instrument tracks. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and sign out of the... Oh, well, thank you so much. Clayton, you are the man. Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and stop the stream on Facebook for right now. Free up a little bit of CPU usage, and because I haven't got any questions over there yet, so that should be good. Okay. So we currently have 28 viewers left, and real quickly, before we end today's stream, if you have any more questions whatsoever, now would be a good time to get those questions in. TA says, I'm getting latency with my plugins. What's the fix? So if you're in Cakewalk by BandLab, one of the fixes for that is actually built in right under the hood. They are one of the only companies that I know of that has this little button here that is called PDC. It stands for Plugin Delay Compensation. So by inputting that, that should dramatically clear that up. Very cool. Hopefully that answers that question. So before we dive into any more of the questions, you know what time it is, folks. It's time to spin the wheel of awesomeness. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is the wheel of awesomeness. This is the part where the show gets crazy and Robert starts talking like some news announcer that he typically calls 𝗪𝐶 𝗳𝗁, but sounds nothing like him. So let's spin the wheel. Okay. Trivia. All right. So before we move on to the rest of the show, the questions that we might be having, let's get a little bit of trivia going. All right. So I'm going to pull up a question right here, and we'll get some answers to what it might be. This one actually is probably going to be... This one is actually probably going to be a little bit cringe for some of you, but this is kind of interesting. I'm posting it in the chat now. What singer has had a Billboard #1 hit in each of the last 4 decades? 𝗪𝐶 𝗪𝗁. Welcome to 𝗪𝐶 𝗪𝗁's show, where we eat fried chicken and we talk about buffalo sauce on them. Good night. That sounds good, by the way. Yes, Casey is a real person, by the way. You didn't know that. That's crazy. All right. So while we're getting to some of these, let's give a huge shout out to these individuals. John Cower, who has just recently liked the Facebook page. Bops New York, who has donated $5 through the Super Chat feature. Thank you so much. Chris Knowles, he's been a member now for quite a while. Mob the Gamer as well. 9 months and 7 months. You guys are awesome. John Cower has also followed the page, liked the page. Keith Hines has become a new subscriber. Lewis Lawson has become a new subscriber. Jarrett Tate has become a new subscriber. We also have Joshua Helms, who has come in as a new Patreon pledge member at $1 a month. And View Hong Ngo has also recently subscribed to the channel. You guys are awesome. Okay, so last thing that we touched on was that... I'll go ahead and keep letting those come in. Okay, so we'll answer another question before we give the answer, which is, like I said, it's going to make people cringe probably. How do you change the time ruler in Sonar so you can tell how many milliseconds a sample is, for example, a kick drum? Thank you. Absolutely. So if you go up here at the time ruler, you see it up here in the upper left-hand corner, you can actually just click on it, and it will reset that to from SMPTE, MBT, milliseconds, and even samples here. And then you can simply come over here. As you can see, whenever you move that, it's then going to move that accordingly. I like to leave it on SMPTE, but then you can go over here to the ruler itself and go down to time ruler format and set that here as well In fact, it even lets you add several to the time ruler. So if you want to go SMPTE as well as samples, you can do that. Super simple. I love questions like that. Super simple. I could only join late, but we'll catch what was missed. It's handy too when this chat remains available. Now, okay, I need to make mention of that. So the chat, sometimes people complain, they come back and they're like, the chat's gone. If the video is not completely uploaded, like YouTube has not completely finished uploading it in the background, the chat will not be visible. So that will happen. You'll have to come back later for the chat to actually be visible. I do set these to where the chat should be visible again. So, all right, tasty 𝗏𝗏𝘂𝘐𝑚. All right, so here's the question: what singer has had a #1 Billboard hit in each of the last 4 decades? So let's see. Paul McCartney? Nope. That's close though. Well, not even really close. MJ, Michael Jackson? Nope. Sorry. Sounded like me. That's nice. Forcing myself not to Google. Micah. Got it. It's Mariah Carey. Yes. It looks like 𝗏𝗶𝘂𝗀𝗏 got it as well. Good deal. I'm having all kinds of typing issues today. That's fine. I have all kinds of typing issues every day, so good deal. Share. No, not share. All right, guys. Well, this has been a fun little hangout session. Greatly appreciate everybody who was coming on and asking questions. I hope that I was able to answer most of the questions to the best of my ability. I realize there are some questions that I can't answer. If I can't answer them on this stream, send me an email. I will get you a proper answer, or I will direct you into the right direction to someone who can. Okay. So with that being said, there is one more thing that I wanted to, there's one more thing that I wanted to bring up. Oh, so yeah, the giveaway is going on. So we still have the 10,000 subscriber giveaway that's going on. Be sure to enter that giveaway. You want to make sure that you get your hands on one or of these massive plugins that we're giving away. Likewise, if you are, if you're wanting to take your music production skills to the next level, I would definitely recommend you hopping on to the Rocket Fuel Mixing Bundle. I still keep calling it the Rocket Fuel Mixing Bundle. It's actually called the Rocket Fuel Bundle. Basically what this is it's a huge bundle of all of the stuff that I have to offer here on the channel, as well as 5 group Skype sessions where we will all then join together. Actually, I'll just bring it up right here so you all can kind of see what all it entails. So basically it's 5 group Skype sessions. It's all of my tutorials bundled into one, so you get to watch those before we actually start those Skype sessions. Those Skype sessions will begin in early November, and then there'll be two Skype sessions a month. Usually these last about 2 hours. And what will happen is when I get 10 people in this small close-knit community, or by the end of October, which that's coming up quickly now, we got another 15 days left basically, then the doors will close to this. It will no longer be available. So with that being said, if you want to get in on this, now is a good time to do so. But you'll get all of the Cakewalk tutorial course, the Compression Simplified course, and if you're using Cakewalk, all of these are going to be done inside of Cakewalk. If you're not using Cakewalk, these will still be useful to you because you're still going to get a ton of value out of it, and you're also going to get multi-tracks to add to your portfolio as well. You'll also get my EQ cheat sheet, the Cakewalk Pro Start template, which will give you a jump start on starting projects, your 15-step mixing system, which will help you do not only finish mixes faster, but also give you a proven method to get from point A to point B. You're going to get PDF guides as well as 5 of those conference calls. And you'll also get a song collaboration opportunity with me and all of the individuals that will be in that small close-knit group. So if this is something you want to be a part of, I would definitely recommend that you hop over there and check that out. It is $197, but I also offer a 2-payment plan or even a 3-payment plan. So if $197 is too much to swing, that will just be taken out monthly in 2 installments or in 3 installments if you want to pay that way. So let's go over some FAQs because everybody's always asking some questions about this. What happens if you can't make one of these sessions? Well, all the sessions are going to be recorded. They're going to be shared with the group. So anything you miss can be caught up on in your own time, or if you'd like to go back and recap, you can still do that as well. Those are going to be evergreen. They'll be there forever. So once you buy into this course, you can always go back and relearn whatever you learned. And of course, you're going to get those tutorial courses as well forever. So you'll be able to go back and check those out as well. Due to the price, is there a payment plan option? Yes, you have a 2-payment and a 3-payment plan. What if you've never made a song? Can you still benefit from this bundle? Absolutely. As long as you have at least some musical abilities and some creativity, you're going to be a great fit for this. Do you need to have a bunch of fancy plugins or equipment? No, all you literally need is just exactly what you're using right now to make music with. And if you're not comfortable in a group session, do I offer private one-on-one sessions? Yes. Now, there will be an uptick in the cost for this because obviously the whole entire intention of getting individuals into a bundle like this and collaborating is so that everybody can benefit from it and we can all collaborate on a song together. But if you want to pay a little bit more of a higher fee, then I can schedule a private session with you as well. All right, and last but not least, the biggest question I get is, do you have to be using Cakewalk by BandLab to get something out of this bundle? And the clear-cut answer to this is no. The methods that I'll be teaching are going to be applicable to any DAW on the market, and I guarantee you, it is going to be phenomenal to your music production skills. In fact, let's take a look at some testimonials here. Zed said he went from creating a song once every 3 months, if he was lucky, to creating 5 songs in the course of a couple of weeks by joining this bundle. 𝗷𝗄𝗄𝗏 from Israel said the homework really helped him solidify his learning by forcing him to put into practice what was already covered, and it challenged him the whole time to become better, and he even said I made it fun. Imagine that. Jürgen, who happens to be in the chat, says, until I took the course, I had never produced a song on my own. I had ideas, but they never took shape. However, by the 3rd session, I had a song of my very own. And a very good song, by the way, if I don't say so myself. Chris K said the material was not earth-shattering or even some new gimmick. That's the point of this whole thing. It's not just a new gimmick. It's not a one-off plugin that fixes things. It's not something that works just for some people and not for others. This literally is a tried and proven method. So he says Robert covers simple, practical ways to take what's already in a person, draws them out, refines them, shows you how to take advantage of your talents that you already own. All right. That's my quick plug for that. Yet again, the doors will be closing at the end of October or after we get 10 members in that small, close-knit community. So you can go and check that out here at the link that I'm posting in the chat now. By the way, if you want access to the 2-pay or 3-payment plan, that is at the bottom of that page that we were just looking at. And that's right here at the top, the Rocket Fuel Bundle, if you want to go and check that out. Now, if you just want access to my ultimate Cakewalk course, you can also just click on that and get that here on the Pro Mix Academy. Or I can actually just sell that to you directly as well, and you'll get a few more freebies. If you go through the HSS store, you can buy it right here. All right. So if you are interested in any of that, definitely make your way over here and check out the page that I've just posted here in the link. The link that I've just, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. All right, guys. So until next time, remember, we can dream alone. We can even create alone, but together we can achieve so much more. Oh, we got one more question here. Don't want to hop off yet. Great question, Jürgen. So he says, when do you plan on doing the 10K celebration show? That's a great question. So I'm going to actually do that November 3rd at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So much like we did today, it'll be the same time that we went live today. That's going to be on November 3rd. That is on a Wednesday, I believe. And we'll be going live there with that. With that being said as well, if you want to get involved in celebrating with me, I do have a link as well where you can actually submit a video that will be played live on the show for that celebration. I just got to find it. And it is right here is the form. Okay. I'm going to post this in the chat now. So if you want to submit a video, this is where you can do that. Oh no, that was not it. Sorry, that was not it. Where's it at? Copy link. Oh, I didn't hit the copy link button. Hello. Okay, so here's the form. You can go and fill this form out. It basically gives you just like a little bit of a rundown as to what this video should entail. Basically, it doesn't have to be anything like Hollywood production. Just a quick video on your phone or something like what does HSS, what does this channel mean to you? What are maybe something that you've learned here on the channel? Some areas that you like, maybe some areas that need changed. I don't know. But yeah, go ahead and submit that to that form, and you can upload your video right on that form. So you don't have to go to any third party, try to figure out some crazy way to upload. You can just do it right there on that form. And then we'll play those back on the 10K celebration, and we'll actually get to hear from people here in the community. So I think it's a really cool way to bring you all sort of on screen and show off all of your talents as well. All right. Thank you all, each and every one of you, for showing up, for being on the stream today. Remember, yet again, before I end it today, we end it the same way every time. But remember, you can dream alone, we can create alone, but together we can achieve so much more. God bless each and every one of you. Stay safe, stay healthy.